Coming up on this episode of the Spiro podcast.
Spending money on emotion is not a good thing. Been there, done that. I'm a high I personality on the DISC profile, and I personalities will spend money for attention. Okay, so I get it, but I want to save you, and you all know the feeling of that fact of when you look at numbers, there's this pit in your stomach of saying the numbers weren't where I wanted them to be. And if you do that too late, you can put yourself and your family in a really bad position.
Welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate media. Photography. Scratch that. Hi, and welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform. It's designed to help you manage your day-to-day real estate media business, but ultimately help it scale as well. I'm Craig Magrum. If you're listening to this, you might not recognize the voice because, well, I got a cold the very last day of my vacation. But Todd, I'm kind of digging the Barry White.
Craig, I love it. I mean, I'm glad you introduced yourself because I'm just closing my eyes here thinking like, who is talking right now? It's great. Like I could just sit here and smile.
If I could have this voice permanently back when I worked in radio, that would have been fantastic. Hey, welcome to U 99.5.
That's so great.
Anyway, welcome to the Spiro podcast.
I'm going to take that clip and I'm going to make it your ringtone on my phone, Craig, so that.
Oh my gosh. What a fun way to start the podcast. Welcome back, folks. Glad to be here with you.
Craig, this is a tangent. So fast forward if y'all don't want to hear it, but Craig took a little vacation. Craig, would you mind? It seemed like such a fabulous time. And I do think this is relative to the podcast because y'all need a break every once in a while.
Yeah.
And Craig, you mind sharing? I'm just so happy you got to go.
Yeah. So my wife, Gail, and I celebrated back in April our 25th wedding anniversary. Thankful she's put up with me that many years. And for almost from day one of being married, we've talked about doing an Alaskan cruise someday. I've only done one other cruise in my life, and that was a Disney cruise down to the Caribbean. And it was a fantastic experience, by the way. If you've never done a Disney cruise, they're not cheap, but they're a ton of fun, even for adults. But anyway, this being our 25th anniversary year, this was the year for our Alaskan cruise. And we started planning it last year. One of my clients up here in my market, one of my realtor clients, is also a travel agent. So I asked her to be our travel agent to help plan it. She's given us business. I want to give her business. And it worked out beautifully. She did a fantastic job. And we did a Princess Inside Passage Alaskan cruise. Yeah. And it was, Todd, oh my gosh. My first love in photography is nature, landscape, and wildlife. That's what got me into photography. And I've been anticipating this, not only the time with my wife, which we have not had that kind of time just by ourselves since before our oldest was born, and he's 21 now.
Wow.
So yeah. So the time with her was just fantastic. We reconnected as a couple. We figured out, hey, we're going to be okay as empty nesters. We're like, okay, our youngest is 11. We only have maybe 7 more years. And what are we going to do after that? We figured out we're going to have a ton of fun traveling and exploring and just doing life together. So we're going to be okay there. But the photography opportunities, I was really obviously looking forward to as well. And between Glacier Bay and things in Skagway, Ketchikan, Juneau, the whale sightings, I saw sea lions, got a couple pictures of a female moose from about 30 feet away. And we were almost having to drive away in case she charged. That was exciting.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was a montage of all sorts of different activities and experiences, and the landscape, Todd, just breathtaking. I mean, I'm in the cornfields and soybean fields of flat Northwest Ohio. It's so boring here. And to take in just how big everything in Alaska is. Sorry, Texas, but Alaska has you beat hands down.
Oh no, hold on here.
The Alaskans said that's an ongoing joke and war between them and Texas. So anyway, Texas, I'm sorry, Alaska's got you beat. Leave a comment, feel free. But yeah, I just really appreciated the time away. Totally got re-energized and reinvigorated, ready to get back to things. But yeah, fantastic experience.
Well, that's so exciting. Great memories
Yeah.
for a lifetime. And
Yeah.
I heard you took some pretty cool pictures too. So maybe we'll have a way to
I'm
show
hoping they
those.
turn out. I'm hoping they turn out. I got some editing to do. So
Hey, maybe Spiro Sync 2028, we could do an Alaskan cruise with everyone.
do my slideshow. Make everybody suffer through that.
No, we go on an Alaskan cruise. We just have it on the cruise.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here. I have Spiro Sync on my mind.
Yeah.
Spiro Sync 2027. So the next Spiro Sync coming up is official. It's booked. And if you haven't gotten your ticket yet and you're thinking about coming, please do so.
Mhm.
You want to visit spiro.media, click the Spiro Sync button at the top and grab your ticket. VIP tickets are extremely limited. That will get you the third day. It will get you, we're going to have a gathering event on the second evening. But our standard ticket's a great 2 full days. All your meals are paid for. You're going to come to Cincinnati, Ohio, and rooms are like $149.
Not bad.
And we're just going to have great speakers, breakouts, and we're going to enjoy some time together.
Yeah. Last year's was fantastic. Just really enjoyed that time with everybody.
Yeah. If you have not been, or if you were last year, maybe share in the comments below, like what you got out of it. If someone's sitting there going, oh, I don't know if I want to go. January is hopefully a perfect time for you. You can come on in and at the end of the day, you can write this all off too, but I can almost guarantee you're going to walk out feeling energized, feeling a little bit better about your business and not feeling like some of the things that are troubling for you. And I'm careful with this because we all are troubled by things, but it makes you feel like you're not alone. I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes in my head, I can build just a really negative and bad story, and connecting with other human beings, especially face to face, just brings a lighter energy. It's like, oh, I'm not the only one that has that gap, that issue, that has thought that.
One of the worst things you can do as a human being, but especially as a business owner, is isolate yourself. Man, you got to connect with other people.
You sure do. I can think of times in my life that I isolated myself and I spent too much time with my own thoughts. They're not fun times. And if you're out there in those times, I'm sorry. Like I always say, doing hard is real, but reach out to others. It's one of the reasons why we do the podcast, and I share stories of times that I've done a stupid thing, because we all do them. We're all humans, but we all have the ability to adapt, to move on, and to keep pushing forward.
Well, Todd, is any updates on Spiro?
So for Spiro, we are very close, and it might even be out by now to the general public, but our API/MCP, you all have asked for this like crazy, and we have delivered to you. It's in beta right now as we record this, but this is going to be your connection to, if you want to build something off of Spiro, a dashboard, an interface of some sort. But also we launched what's called an MCP server. And what this is a translator for your AI platform. So for example, you can integrate it into Claude, and then you could say, hey, how many shoots do I have for today? What are my top 10 clients? You can really ask it anything you want to. It's going to go gather that data from the MCP server and understand what that data means. And it's going to deliver you back info that then will move you forward, and you can gain some better understanding of your business.
Fantastic. Amazing.
So excited about that. Also, one question I've gotten a lot lately are about revisions. And many of you are doing, and this is very popular in the industry, but high-end video. Your cinematics, or you all call them different, but agent on camera, some really cool effects and editing, and they have been great for us at WOW. We launched them a little while ago at WOW, and our agents have really loved them. And I've heard the same from you all out there. This is a way that agents are becoming different from other agents that only do photos only, or might just do a simple video. We understand that the process of doing those higher end videos, there might be more input from the client, and that means revisions. One thing that we launched in the last update were the ability to mention a user in Spiro. So the way that my team at WOW is handling revisions, and you could even use this strategy for revisions of a photo, but they are mentioning the individual who would do that revision on the team. So we have a fabulous team over in the Philippines that handles just about all of our revisions. They simply go to the page, mention the individual, and then that person's going to get an email with the comment, and they'll be able to click to go straight to that page. Nice thing about, they'll go straight to the property website editor, download the media if they need, and they can go ahead and do that revision. One more thing that we've built in to bring a little bit more visibility to those revisions, because as a user in Spiro, your editors, your team can see their mentions that are read and unread, but there's really no way, if say Jess mentions an editor, to know that they did it. So what we did is we created a revision task, and I'll just run over it briefly, and then I can always do a video if you all are interested. Just let me know if you want to know the setup of this. But basically, we add a task, we add that service of the task, refresh the page, and then there is a task assigned to that individual to do it. So we can track it, we can track how long it takes, but that really closed the loop on communication as far as letting the editors know. They can see it clearly. They have a to-do item, which we feel is very important. Having a to-do item for every one of your services, or something's going to get dropped, especially as you scale your business. But if you want to know more about that, just comment below. I'll do a quick Loom video. I'll show you our exact setup of how we're managing that. And that has really streamlined the process and just allowed us to breathe a little bit easier, because no one wants to remember at 7 p.m. at the dinner table, oh crap, did I do something?
Yeah.
It's got a task to it. It's mentioned. It's all going to get done, and you don't have to worry about it.
If you're listening, you can also email us hello@spiro.media.
Yes, please do.
Throw that out there. Okay.
Excellent. And if you're emailing us, sorry, Craig, if you're emailing us, let us know what you want on this podcast. I'll be transparent, y'all. I sit in the morning, the day of the podcast, and you can roast me for not being a great planner. But I am like, what have I heard this week? What have I read? What have I seen on my coaching calls? And what questions do I have? And we're always happy to answer those. If you have a question, just ask it here. I'll scan the podcast, and thank you for those that comment. But if you have something, honestly, reach out if you want to know what it is. It would help us, honestly. My Friday morning, I'll look at what you guys want to know, and we will come up and we will help you with whatever might be a gap in your business right now.
Right. We don't want to provide content that's not meaningful to you. And so if we're in the dark as to what to talk about, it's not going to benefit you, and well, then why do the podcast? But we want to be a benefit. So yeah, hello@spiro.media. You can also, again, leave a comment on the YouTube channel. We'll scan for those, and we'd love to do topics that are real issues that you're dealing with in your business each and every day. So Todd, I don't normally do this, but before we dive into our topic this week, it just happened to be scanning Facebook, and I've connected with a lot of you that listen or watch on Facebook, and a birthday popped up on my feed today on Facebook, and I've never done this before, but it kind of takes me back to my radio days where announcers would announce birthdays of listeners and wish them a happy birthday. So by the time this airs, it's going to be after his birthday. So a very happy belated birthday to Jared Gilbertson. He's the owner of Beyond Property Media in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. So Jared, happy birthday, belated from all of us at Spiro.
Yeah. Hope you have a great one.
That was kind of fun for me. I'm like, I want to do a happy birthday, So if we happen to see your birthday, we'll try and mention those.
I love it,
So,
Craig. A new
yeah.
segment.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, Todd, let's dive into the topic this week. We're kind of going back to I think we've kind of mentioned this topic in the past, but it's been a long time, and it's a very simple issue of when you're owning your own business that oftentimes is seasonal. It's the issue of personal budgeting. During the busy season in real estate media, let's be honest, we're raking in some cash. Okay, the budgets look great. it's easy to kind of want to spend some more because you got a lot more coming in. But then the slow season kicks in, and you realize, maybe I should have saved a little bit more. But you've got some insight on this, years of experience, obviously, with WOW Video Tours. But let's dive in and talk about maybe some how-tos on personal finance and owning your own business.
Yeah, I think 95% of the users just switch this off. But if you have,
Yeah.
if you are staying around because Craig's voice is just so great today, thank you. We'll try to give you some value here.
I wonder if I could replicate this voice each week using AI. Take samples.
Not a bad thought. There you go. I don't know. This is crazy. Side tangent. You all know me. I wish you had a helium tank today so I could hear what your voice goes to with helium.
I haven't done that in a long time.
Okay. So personal finances, probably a dirty word I just said, but this has been on my mind for a long time. And I've been like, oh, I'm not going to talk about it.
And everybody's saying, I wish you wouldn't.
Yeah. But I almost feel like I have to, because as you grow a business, things can become scary. Spending money on emotion is not a good thing. Been there, done that. Okay. I'm a high I personality on the DISC profile, and I personalities will spend money for attention. Okay. So I get it. But I want to save you, and you all know the feeling of that fact of when you look at numbers, there's this pit in your stomach of saying the numbers weren't where I wanted them to be. And if you do that too late, you can put yourself and your family in a really bad position. I want you to remember the reason why you started your business was to meet your personal goals. And business and life and our brains, and you all are overachievers. Your big brain, your overachiever brain can fool you sometimes into thinking that you started the business to grow the business and go ahead and forget about all your personal goals. Or I'm just going to hustle a little bit longer and I'll eventually get back to taking care of myself, my family. Or I'm going to grow big enough that everything works out and I'll be able to get out of the hole that I'm digging myself in. Those are some bets that I don't really want you to take. That I think there's some simple things that you could do that will prevent you from that and will allow you to adjust more in line. And so that by the time you hit December 31st, January 15th, whenever you look at, the last year, that you go, oh, I feel better about this. So Craig, I am not a financial planner. I have just done this for quite some time, really since I got married to Jessica. So that was 2008. So you all do the math. So I've done this for almost 20 years of just understanding where I personally spend money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to share that with you today. This is what has worked for me. So the first thing is you have to understand truly your numbers. You have to make metric-based decisions, not things based on feelings. Like Craig mentioned at the top of the topic, hey, when those numbers come in big, like it's great. Like, oh yeah, great. Let's go buy something.
Let's go on an Alaskan cruise.
Let's go.
Now, I had that plan for 25 years, Todd. I'm going to defend myself, but anyway.
Yeah. And Craig, I would say you are very smart with money. So and I'm not saying all of you are out there. I hear some things, I see some things that you guys buy, and I'm just like, I don't know that that makes you happy. I think that actually digs more of a hole. Okay, step number 1, Craig, is just simply knowing your numbers.
Right.
And this is your true numbers. And I'll share with you what I do. But the thing that this is not, I get Discover text on my phone and I see when I have a charge over X dollars. This is not, hey, I've had less Amazon boxes show up to my house this week. I think I'm doing okay. This is truly understanding every penny that you spend, where does it go? Okay, so if you don't have a system, the first step is you need to get every area where you spend money. So most likely this is going to be credit cards. Okay, so what personal credit cards do you have? And bank accounts, debit cards, anything where you're spending money. You have to get all of those transactions, and you need to, you could do this as simply as just bringing them into a spreadsheet. So the kind of the old fashioned way, and I'll tell you the way that I do it to save time because I'm just lazy. But the easiest way is if you got your credit card statement every month, there's going to be 50 charges on it. You would go to your spreadsheet for July of 2026, and you would simply type out the first line item. Okay, so it's going to say, let's say it's your car payment. All right, so you're going to type down whatever car payment, the amount, and then what is that categorized as? Okay, that's part of our autos and payments. Okay, and you're going to have different categories. Now, kind of the cheat sheet for this of how I do it is I use an external program. And I do pay for this. It's relatively cheap. I think I pay 50 or 60 bucks a year, but I use Quicken. And Quicken is in the same parent company of QuickBooks. We use QuickBooks at Wow and at Spiro. I just like the interface. I think they've done a nice job with updating. But there's many out there. There's programs like called You Need a Budget. There's honestly a million of these where you can sign into your credit card, sign into your bank. And when you hit sync on the program, when I hit sync and Quicken, it will go and get all of the new transactions and it will bring them in, and it will have the name of the vendor. It will have the amount, and I'm able to categorize what that was spent towards.
Does it do it automatically, or do you have to decide which category?
Yeah, great question. So it will learn what you typically categorize things as, and it will autofill them, and then you can just go down and approve them. But I do think it's important for a couple of reasons for you to look at every line item. So let me give you an example. So when we vacation, we typically stay at a house so we can cook food. Okay. A lot of the food during vacation, we cook at home. Allergies, different things like that with my family. So we'll go to, say, a grocery store. And if we've gone to that grocery store back at home, then Quicken will categorize that spend as our food category. And I don't really like that because it was money we spent on vacation. So I'll change that category, Walmart or whatever it may be, if we have food delivered, and I'll put vacation down there because that was an expense while we were on vacation. The thing that Quicken will do is when we come back home and we order from that store, it's going to try to categorize it as vacation. So just look at it. You're going to get some small things like that. But I think what the most important thing is that you are looking at where you spend money. And just naturally, when you do this, you're going to go, ugh, that was $97. It seemed good in the moment. And in the moment, you get this dopamine hit when you're at TJ Maxx or wherever you're at and you have a cart full of crap that they all seem really cool. but you spend $122. Like, how does that feel when you look at the line item 2 weeks later when none of it's cool anymore? Do you go, ugh, like maybe I need to find the receipt so I can take it back, or maybe I just don't do it next time? But I'm a firm believer in understanding what you spend will allow you to make adjustments. So the next time you go to spend, you have a true kind of barometer of where you're at financially. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to categorize every transaction. And some things to be to make sure is make sure you have all your banks, all your credit cards, anywhere you spend money. Okay, so there's some other platforms as to where, like, if you're sending Venmo or PayPal, you're covered on those. At least for me, Venmo and PayPal pull from my bank accounts, and the bank accounts get synced into Quicken, and so the transaction will be called Venmo. I'll have to go back to my Venmo account if I can't remember the transaction, and I'll have to categorize it then. But you're basically going to know what your monthly spend number is. So just as a fun thing, does anybody out there know what your monthly spend number is? Okay, do you know, like, we spend X amount of dollars per month as a household. If you do, good for you. You know, this is probably second knowledge for you. If you have no clue what you spend monthly, I would highly, highly encourage you to go find out this number. You'll begin to notice some trends, okay, in your spending. You've looked at every line item. You've understood what it's for. You've either been like, yeah, I'm happy I spent that money. Or like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to do that again. But at the end of the day, you knowing a number is important. What this allows you to do as a business owner is it allows you to compare those two numbers. What do you need to live at home? Maybe you need $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, whatever the number is. You're able then to put hard numbers as to what the business needs to do. So you're not basing the outlook of your business and personal life based on feelings, based on how many shoots came in. It doesn't matter how many shoots came in. If you didn't make any money off of them, it doesn't matter. Okay, Craig. So step number 2 is, once you know all of your monthly spend numbers, is that you do this every month. And you'll do this every month because things happen at different portions of the year.
Right.
Okay. Right. You just had a big spend, right, Craig?
Yes, I did.
So, Craig, if you do this month and say you've never done this before, you're going to go, oh, holy crap. Because what we all do naturally is you get your monthly spend number and then we all multiply it by 12, right?
Yeah.
What did I spend this year? What did I spend this year versus what did I make this year? And where am I in comparison? And this is a case where you just need more data. Craig, if you took your monthly spend that included your vacation and you multiplied it by 12, it's not fair because you're not going to have that vacation expense every month.
Right. Once a year. So yeah, there's an anomaly.
Exactly. And like with our family, we typically vacation in March or April. So I always see that March or April is higher than the rest of the months. And then I also see like a January or December, they tick up. Why? Because we buy Christmas gifts and it's either charged in December or it's charged in January. So you will find different things like that about the year, so that, and why this is important is in those months that you're doing it, you hit sync and all of these transactions come in. You don't have this oh crap moment. You just go, hey, I know December's high. We had Christmas to pay for. I know April's high. We had vacation to pay for. But doing this in a 12-month segment will average out those anomalies over 12 months so that you know what to expect. You know, just for example, like let's take the vacation thing, because this kind of ties into now, how do I budget to make smart financial decisions? So say you go on a vacation and it is $5,000. I'm just making up numbers here, whatever the vacation may be. And you see $5,000 addition in the month that you took the vacation. Okay, oh crap, we spent some money this month. But what that actually is, when you look at it from a year's perspective, is it's 5,000 divided by 12, which is $416. So you taking that vacation of $5,000 means that somewhere you need to budget in a little over $400 a month for your yearly vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Craig, on the topic of budgeting, there is kind of a dirty word, taxes.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know for me, it was always like, oh my goodness, what's taxes going to be? It was April when I would get them done, and I'm just hoping and praying that the number doesn't have a lot of zeros.
Right.
And that is not a good feeling.
Right.
But you have a strategy for taxes. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah. So yeah, taxes, insurance, costs that I know are fairly fixed. I mean, they do go up over time. But there's a feature in my bank account, and I've actually got a couple of different types of accounts set up where I can have a certain amount pulled out automatically and put into another account, so that I don't even necessarily see that, see that number in, how do I want to put this? I don't even see that. It just automatically gets taken out of my checking account and put into another account, so that, say, when my real estate taxes come due, I've already got the money set aside in a different account, and I don't have to worry about, do I have enough in my checking? It's already been pulled out and saved for me. So if you have an automatic feature like that where you can set up several different types of accounts, just figure out what that monthly number is and have that much pulled out automatically from your checking account, so that when the time comes to pay that bill, the money's already there.
Yeah, that is super smart, because if you're going to your what it prevents is going to your checking account. You pull it up online, you look at the number, and we all go, "Hey, we have money," or we go, "Hey, we don't have money."
Right.
And what it prevents you is, if you're like, "Hey, we have money," but that money in there is going to pay things that are coming up, you might not really have money. So taking it out of there is just a very smart and quick visual way for you to see a true reality of what cash flow, what money you actually have.
Yeah, I do that for taxes, insurance, uh, auto payments. Now, both of our cars are actually paid off, but I still have a separate account for auto payments, saving for the next car. So every month I have a certain amount that I have automatically taken out of my checking for a future car, so that when that time comes, I've got money already set aside for that car.
Yeah, that's smart, Craig. Craig, can we take a slight tangent here? And this wasn't in the show notes, but I want to talk about cars. It's funny you brought that up, because I feel like this is an area, and I will tell you, I love cars, y'all.
He does. He does.
I love cars. But the older I get, the more I realize that cars are nothing but an expense. You will always lose money on a car, and it always feels better the day you drive it off the lot than literally 3 days later, 3 months later, 3 years later. And cars are a very slippery slope, especially in our business. I understand you guys drive everywhere. Okay? Been there, done that. Craig does it. But if you are justifying a car payment that puts you in a bad position, I would argue with you that that's not good for the business, and that's terrible for your financial position.
Yeah. You got to be practical in that. I mean, the number one thing I look at is fuel economy, obviously. But I quit buying new cars a long time ago. I look for one that's a year old, maybe 2 or 3 years old at most. Because yeah, the second you drive that car, Todd, I actually have the opposite feeling. In the past, when I realized what was happening, the second I drive that car off the lot, I have depreciated that car like that, and I've already lost value. It doesn't matter that I moved it 200 foot. I'm not going to get out of that car what I just paid for it. And so it's like a sinking feeling for me. So the practical side of me says, no, I'm not. I'm not going to buy a brand new car.
I've been told, so there's a couple things that I do when when I'm looking at cars. Like, let's say you want to buy a $50,000 car. which is really not that much of a car. I mean, anymore, like 50K is not that much, especially of a new car. Especially as you add options and features and things like that, you can spend that money in no time. Well, a $50,000 car, the simple math that I do, and this is rough math, but you double the 5 and add a few zeros. So a $50,000 car is $1,000 a month car payment. And that's putting no money down. And the thing about putting no money down or very little money down is the fact that now you have a very high insurance, you have a very high interest, you have a lot of interest when you pay, and you pay most of the interest at the beginning of the loan. So if you hold that car for 3 years, but you took out a 6-year loan, you are just spending so much money on interest. By the time you get to 3 years, you're going to carry over debt in car number 1 to car number 2. Then your $1,000 a month car payment is going to be $1,500 a month because you're trying to always push this debt down the road. Okay, so just one parting tip for me, and then I'll get off my high horse, is that I was told by a very smart financial person that the car that you can afford is the car that you can pay cash for.
Mm.
Say that one more time. The car that you can afford is the car that you can write a check for out of your bank account right now. That is the smartest way to buy a car because you have the money available, you're not paying interest. And when you have to write that big of a check, you typically look for something a little bit less.
Some of you may have heard the name Dave Ramsey. he makes the argument you shouldn't take a loan out on anything other than a home.
Mhm.
And I think he's even hesitant about that, which I don't know how I couldn't buy a home without some sort of loan. Well, anyway, but a car for sure. Don't take a loan out.
Because what it fools us again. It's like you not moving that money in your bank account, Craig. It fools us every month. Like if we take out the loan, that is just money we don't have. You're responsible to pay that back. You are going to pay that car back at some point. Even if you trade it, you're going to keep paying it on the next car if you have negative equity. It's
Right.
just this, it fools us to thinking that we can actually afford something because we take it out little by little.
Yeah. Loan yourself the money. Save ahead of time.
Okay, so off my high horse, and just for the record, I drive a 2017-year-old car that was a rebuilt car. I consistently look for new cars. I just haven't pulled the trigger. I need to stop looking because I just like this is so practical. Okay, and I don't drive as many miles as you all do, but like sometimes, and for me, and this is me like speaking to myself, I just need to learn to be content with what I have. I've got a car, it goes from A to B, it has the technology I want. So why do when I drive past every car lot, look at it and go, I wish I had the new one. I don't know why my brain does that, but it would make me a lot happier if I stopped because I'm looking at cars again. Why am I looking at cars again?
I'm kind of lucky that I bought a Honda Accord. Now, I will admit I did buy a sport version because I wanted something a little bit more fun to drive again because I do spend so much time in the car. And I just come from a Hyundai Sonata. And no, let me tell you, it was one of the most boring cars I've ever driven in my life. But the Accord, I'm like, I want an Accord or a Camry because I am putting so many miles on every year, and they have a great reputation for high mileage. It's not a hybrid. I like that 10-speed automatic transmission and the turbo in it, but it was practical at the same time. It was fun, but practical. So
yeah. And part of life, you do have to always find that happy medium. I'm trying to prevent you all out there from when you are in a good month of your business, you've typically worked a lot of hours, driven probably a lot of miles. I just want you to have this kind of moment of pause before you go, hey, I've earned getting this car that could potentially put me in a bad position. Okay, so that is knowing your numbers, step number 1. If you don't know your numbers right now, you need to get all your transactions. Download Quicken. It is worth whatever it costs a month. Categorize them and understand what your monthly spend is. Then number two, we have to understand that there is going to be some anomalies throughout the year. And that's why creating a budget and looking at it from a 12-month perspective is important. Okay, before we get to tip number three, Craig, I just want to add one more little bullet point here in case you all aren't doing this out here. But there are some areas that you might need to think about spending more money each month.
Okay.
Okay, so I know you're like, Todd, what are you talking about? Like, this typically seems like you're telling me to spend less money. If you are not investing in your future,
Yeah.
this is an area that I would highly suggest you begin doing. Okay, do you have a 401k? Are you putting money into any type of investments anywhere? If you're not, then that's okay. The first step is understanding what you spend. Is there money left each month that you can save back? Okay. Can you look at 1%, 5% of your monthly income? Could you put that aside and be okay? And you can't really answer that question until you know what your numbers are. What do I make every month? What do I spend every month? What's there? What's the difference? Maybe it's negative, maybe it's positive. Okay, if that number is negative, which means you're spending more money than you make each month, you're going to have to dig into those numbers. You're going to have to see, what do I spend on my house? What do I spend on my cars? What do I spend on food, entertainment, vacations? You're going to go down the list and understand where you spend money. There's a good chance you have 3 subscriptions right now that you don't need. So if you are not investing in your future, you need to pick a number and you need to stick to it. Much like Craig takes his taxes out and those line items out of the bank account, pay yourself this money first. Okay, what I mean, or take this money out first. When you get paid, the first thing you need to do is you need to transfer money from that payment into whatever investment account you're holding. Okay. My financial advisor, they do this automatically monthly. I've given him a monthly number of money that he takes out automatically from my bank account. It happens without me thinking about it. Well, I could stop it if I'd wanted to, but it's difficult for me to stop it. I would have to call him, email him the office and say, hey, don't do the disbursement for this month. It just happens. And I never plan on that money because I know that money is my future for later in life.
Right.
Okay, the next area, and this is an area where if you're not doing it right now, it could be a 1% thing. Okay, are you giving to charity? Are you tithing right now? Are you doing something for someone else?
That could be a whole other podcast.
I think for me, and then I'll get your opinion on Craig. I know you have an opinion and a strategy for this, but for me, this idea of giving, even if it's small, I will tell you, will do more for you than the person, the church, the company that you give the money to. And it's just the first 1%. Literally, can you give 1% to something that you want to help? No, Craig, tell me your thoughts.
Well, you and I are kind of both on the same page on this, related to our faith. We have, you mentioned the word tithe, and some people might be, what in the world is tithe? And it's just the biblical concept of giving a tenth of your gross income, basically, towards God's kingdom, charitable work, things like that, things that are benefiting somebody else besides yourself. So yeah, my number one thing is I take 10% right off the top of my gross, not my net, my gross. And that goes to various things that we as a family give to and we believe are important spiritually and charitably otherwise. That's, we do it not under compulsion, not because it's like a spiritual have to. There's actually a scripture that talks about to give cheerfully, not under compulsion. Like, you don't feel like you have to. It should be something you want to do. You're doing it cheerfully. And I've just found, and my parents taught me this, and I've watched it lived out and worked out in real time that as you give generously, it's given back to you generously.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and dad taught me early to tithe, and there were times when things were tight financially for my family, but my mom and dad made a priority to take 10% off the top, even during those financially tight times. And Todd, you know what happened every time? My dad would all of a sudden have overtime opportunities that he didn't have before, and and we got through those tougher financial times. We happen to believe, because of our faith in Christ, that God blesses generosity and he'll provide for you through those times. Gail and I have had some tight financial times. I worked in ministry for most of my career.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, Todd, I did not work in Christian radio because of the money. It just, I was not able to save a whole lot for my future. But I tried to still save something, and we tithed. And even though there were some very lean financial times, we always had a roof over our head. We always had clothes on our back, and we always had food on the table. Now, we didn't necessarily have a whole lot other than that, but our needs were taken care of. And it was a issue of learning to be content. Not easy, but
Sure.
it worked.
Yeah. Well said, Craig. I couldn't agree more. So just to challenge you out there, if you're not giving, not tithing, could you start somewhere at 1%? And just try it, put it in there, and don't, just write that money to someone else. And I think you'll find that in the end does more for you than it does for that you ever think it could happen. So the last step is pretty quick, Craig. I mean, we've already gone through the steps. There's this idea of just you need to be consistent with your numbers. If you have not done this yet, this is going to be a relatively large task, because you'll need to get your statements, you'll need to sync everything, and then you might have thousands of transactions that you need to go and categorize. So it's going to take a little bit of time. Especially, I think what's going to happen is if you do this month and you've never done any other, I think you're going to go back in time, and you're probably going to start with January of 26, and you're going to do the whole year because you want the full picture. It gets much easier. Let me tell you. And I've had times where I've kind of gone dormant on this for a month or more. And I get to it and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go because I know there's going to be so many to categorize. I try, and I'm not going to lie to you, I don't do this weekly, but I try to do this weekly. Okay. I have in my calendar to review business finances weekly. Okay. So I have a time block that I review for WOW and a time block that I review for Spiro. That is scheduled every week. I probably just need to schedule a time block for me to review personal finances. Typically, there's usually like a lazy Sunday, a lull on the Sunday afternoon. And for some dumb reason, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go do finances now. It's just like I want to get it crossed off. Sometimes I sleep. Sometimes I do things with the kids. But
I was going to say, I take a nap.
yeah. But once you do this weekly, it's honestly really easy to keep up with. And it aligns, it just gives me an idea of where we're at. Like, I know what my monthly spend number is. I know there's anomalies that come in. My wife and I will look at these numbers together. I'll take, charge on these, but then I'll print out a report and I'm like, hey, we really just need to cut back a little bit more here. Or what was this charged for? Like, oh yeah, we had doctor bills. Okay, that's why it was so high. But once you do this, you will want this information because it allows you to get back to your business and to feel good and knowing what you're doing. And I don't think there's a worse pressure than being at your business, having an infinite goalpost because you don't know what you're spending, but you just know the numbers get bigger and bigger. And that is true. I will tell you some of the numbers that we spend today versus 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, if my younger self, Todd, would see our Amex bill in 2026, that's more money than I made the whole year. Sometimes. But I know what it's going to. I know that the spend is the good use, and I know that it's budgeted. So it's all about knowing your numbers, making metric-based decisions, and not decisions off of feelings.
Consistently review those numbers, your spend numbers versus your budget.
Yes. Yep.
Good stuff, Todd.
I got one more real quick because I hear this a lot in coaching calls. If you out there have hired a bookkeeper, I think that's great. Okay, so we have someone on staff that helps us with books, but I will tell you, I review them. I look at all of the transactions personally. Jesse, she might categorize things. I tell her things to look out for to alert me, but I am in there looking at all those numbers, understanding those numbers, asking questions to the bookkeeper. Okay. I think sometimes a bookkeeper, yes, they do great and they take some load off of you, but you are still responsible to be the CFO of your business and of your personal life.
Right. Yep. Good reminder.
Sorry, that's it for me. One more. I'm off my high horse, y'all. Tell me in the comments below, do you have a strategy? Am I wrong? What do you do that works? I'm open to discussion.
Absolutely. You can also email us hello@spiro.media. All right. Well, that's going to wrap things up this week. Todd, thank you for the review. Just good reminders. There's times I need to get more disciplined myself. I don't like numbers. I've never been a math guy. And so that discipline of budgeting can be a challenge for me at times. And personally, that was a good reminder for me. And I'm going to get on some things. So thank you.
My pleasure.
All right. That's going to wrap things up this week. Again, just a reminder, if you have a business topic, financial questions, day-to-day operations, things like that affect your business, we would love to help cover those. If Todd and I don't know, we'll find a guest that maybe isn't more of an expert in that area, because we want this to be a relevant podcast to you and your real estate media business. Just drop us a line, hello@spiro.media, and we would love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us again. Whether you're watching or viewing, if you found value in this, we appreciate the like on YouTube. Feel free to share it in the various groups that you might be in on Facebook. We want to serve you well, and helping us get word out about it is another way we can do that. So thank you in advance for that. All right. Make sure you take some time this week to just be thankful for the blessings in your life, because we all have them. Sometimes we have to look for them and stop and slow down to realize what those blessings are. And make sure you take a breath. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.